Hi, it's Josie, and today I'd like to speak to you about leg yield. And by the end of this video, you should understand how we ask a horse to leg yield and how he should actually leg yield. Leg yielding is an exercise we use to ensure our horses are obedient to our sideways pushing aid. But it helps a lot, I found it personally as a rider, to help me understand how to coordinate aids sideways, stopping shoulders falling out, stopping horses rushing off, because it's quite an intricate movement and you need to be quite subtle with it, so it should teach you subtlety as well. Leg yielding for my horses always starts on the ground. In the very beginning, I hated doing groundwork. I'm going to be really honest with you. I used to think, ain't nobody got time for that. I just want to get on and ride my horse. But I've learned the value of them over the years in not only explaining to the horse what I want him to do by being able to break it right down, but it's also where I learnt the most about how to break things down to a horse. So if you'd like to see that video, and if your horse can't leg yield, I promise you, you're better off starting there and then coming here and watching this a bit later, because you will get further faster even though it feels like slower in the beginning. So I'll link that video just up here. This video is going to cross over with the end of that video a little bit anyway. So we're going to start with some theory, boring old theory, but if you don't understand that, you have limited chance of teaching your horse except by accident. So in a leg yield, the horse only has flexion. He does not have any bend, and his inside feet should step across and in front of the outside set of feet. It should be done in a nice, even rhythm with a nice, soft, supple step. Now that said, it doesn't always start like that, okay? I don't know any person that started doing any sort of gymnastic move elegantly to start with. Everybody starts, I think, a little bit rough and tumble, and so does your horse, so allow him to learn. So the horse is flexed and not bent. If you don't understand those concepts, I'll link that video up here. I've done a flexion and bend one, so go and watch that, because that's important to understand what we're looking for. So flexion is just from the pole, remember? The horse from the pole to the tail should be straight in leg yield. Now the inside, we're going to talk about inside and outside here, and this is the same in anything to do in dressage. The inside of a horse has nothing to do with your arena. Okay, I know this is inside and the paddock's outside, but when we're talking about a dressage horse, inside is only pertaining to which way the horse is flexed and bent. If there is no bend in the horse, such as leg yield, it's only pertaining to how he's flexed. So the horse is flexed away from the direction he's travelling in, and if that doesn't make sense to you, he's flexed towards the leg you're pushing him away from. So the aids for leg yield are: inside rein gets a nice soft flexion. Remember, flexion, not bend. Outside rein stops the horse from bending his neck too much to the inside. So he's flexed now, Spider's flexed. I can see the corner of his eye and his nostril, and he was trying to bend his neck too far there. That was my outside rein's job to stop that. So inside rein, bend and flexion. Outside rein stops the bend too much. And also if the horse starts falling out through the shoulder, it helps control the shoulder. Inside leg sits slightly behind the girth. Up on the girth is a forward driving aid, so it is slightly behind the girth. Outside leg acts as a bit of a guarding leg in case he tries to tip his haunches out as well. You keep him that way. And outside leg also keeps the horse going forward along with the inside leg. So now I'm going to show you the steps I teach the horse to leg yield in once I've done the groundwork. So when I first start to teach a horse to leg yield, once he's got it on the ground, I use the fence to help me, because it's going to help slow him down and take one of his options away. So I'm going to tip his nose in, take my inside leg back, and ask him to step off of it. Now remember, the inside leg was this leg because it pertains to where he's flexed, nothing to do with the arena. If you're going to ride dressage, you need to get your head around that. So tip his nose in and leg on. So the angle for the leg yield should be about 30 degrees, no more than 45. We're not doing a side pass or a full pass on a horse. So flex in, leg on, leg on, leg on. Now when I said leg on, it went on and then off, and he came off as he picked his foot up and moved it underneath him. Why? Because horses learn from the release of the pressure. He was doing what I wanted him to do, so I took the pressure off. They don't learn when you put it on, they learn when you take it off. I'm going to do it going away from you now, so he's going to be from my right leg. So flex him in, leg back, on, off, on, off. Now his angle's pretty damn close to 45 there. You can see flexion, right leg on, off, on, off, on, off. Now he's very responsive to my right leg and not so responsive to my left leg. So that was a big learning curve for me then. I just realised that Spider's a bit lazy off my left leg, which is going to affect his bending to the left on circles. So flexion to the left and leg on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. Straighten him up and let him walk on. When I'm on a really green young horse, it might only be one step and then pat him and walk on. I think I better clarify that for you. Once you can do that in walk, you can do it in trot. Tip his nose in, push him off, 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 off. Right, so I'm flexing him to the right and moving him off my right leg. Now in rise trot, the timing for that sort of movement is as you're coming up out of the saddle, you should be putting your inside leg on to ask him to go forward sideways, because that's when that inside hind leg is coming up if you're sitting on the correct diagonal. From the other direction. Flexion over, flexion over, flexion over, flexion over. And when I said flexion, I was just checking him on my inside rein to make sure he was soft. You can come from here and come all the way over. I like to go over, then make sure I can ride him straight and then come over. Really checks the obedience of your horse to your outside aids. Also do one this way, out. It feels quite stiff in the left bar. That's better. Flexion to me, straight. Flex him right and ask him off my right leg. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm really enjoying doing these.